Let's get into our story. Now, a Kumasi High Court has ruled that the body of a deceased person belongs to the family and not the partner. The court observed that irrespective of the form of marriage contracted in Ghana, customary law is applied in the unlikely event of the death of a partner. Now, presiding judge, Her Ladyship Justice Dorinda Smith Arthur, in her ruling on the interlocutory injunction application seeking to enjoin the burial and funeral service of legendary highlife musician Charles Kojo, also known as Daddy Lumba, says the matrilineal family is entitled to a deceased person's body and funeral rights. It follows the court's refusal of an injunction application against the head of the family, Priscilla Ofori, also known as Odobroni, and the Transitions Funeral Home filed by Akosua Serwaa, who identifies herself as the only surviving wife of the late musician. Ohimiteria was in the court and has come through with this report.
Court was characterized by heated legal arguments and banter as counsel for the plaintiff and defendants battled it out to advance their positions on law. Lawyers for the plaintiff, led by William Kusi, spent 56 minutes to advance their arguments. They prayed the court to absorb their client's plea to prevent the head of the family and another woman who also identifies as the wife of the late musician, the funeral home, as well as their assigns, from moving the body and conducting the burial and funeral rites of the late musician. Plaintiff counsel averred Akosua Serwaa is the only surviving spouse since she has a certificate of civil ordinance marriage issued in Germany, and she ran to court knowing very well that the law was on her side as the only surviving wife. This, the counsel argued, is an indication that the late musician cannot be married to another woman. Making reference to several legal authorities and procedures, including the Practice Direction of 2024, lawyer William Kusi argued the application was not strange and that it was known by law since due procedure was followed. Quoting paragraph 3 of the practice, he said the plaintiff filed the application promptly, that is, on October 3, 2025. But this was shot down when defense lawyers questioned the legitimacy of the evidence put before the court in the form of purported marriage certificate of the late musician. They also pointed out procedural errors in the interpretation of the certificate, claiming it did not comply with Section 8 of the Evidence Act. They pleaded the evidence could not be admissible since it was in Dutch and should have been certified by the German authorities, Ghana's consul in Germany, and further interpreted by approved institutions in Ghana. On the part of the Council of Transition Funeral Home, the evidential burden of duty was not met by the applicant as prescribed by Section 11 of the Evidence Act. Presiding Judge, Her Ladyship Dorinda Smith Arthur, assured parties her ruling shall be just and convenient as she refused the application for injunction. Dominic Kojo Osei is counsel for first respondent Abusuapeni Kofiusu.
As the judge read it, I was very much, or the team was very much confident in our position. You were in court, you saw the argument that we canvassed. In as much as law has emotions embedded in it, it is important that you take advantage of that emotion and let not it spill you out of your objectives. We had an objective. The objective first is to ensure that any impediment such as this injunction will be denied by the court for the proper burial to proceed.
What does it mean for the burial and funeral of the famous Daddy Lumba?
What it means is victory for all lovers of Daddy Lumba. It also means victory for the family. What it means is that now we can bury this giant of a musician and then look at other matters.
Meanwhile, the court has set November 25, 2025 to rule on the substantive application filed by Akosua Serwaa, seeking to be recognized as the only surviving spouse of the late Ghanaian music legend Charles Kojo, popularly known as Daddy Lumba. The court has also set November 14, 2025 for case management From Kumasi, for Joy News, Oyemi Nteria reporting.